Welcome to Real Geek Media. Happy Halloween. It is November 1st, 2024. I am Hayden Stoll. He is Christopher Michael Blake. This is our post Halloween episode. On tap today, we have Terrifier 3. But before we get into the fun with Art the Clown and friends, Christopher, how you been?
Another day of trick or treat in hell.
Oh,
No, everything's good. I mean, I can't complain. Whatever's left over from my daughter's candy basket, I get to pilfer through, and you know how that goes.
yeah. So Halloween was good. Trick or treating was good.
Yeah, no problems. I mean, everything was
Nice.
cool. I mean, another night. I don't have too many. Yeah, we're here in Florida, Jersey, basically.
Yeah, 80 degrees yesterday. Okay, that was fun.
I like it. As long as I can keep this air conditioner or the heater off, I'm good, man.
Crack the
Please don't let me
screen
reach
door.
for my bills, please.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. So, Halloween has come and gone. It was another fun Halloween. I was up at my parents' place this afternoon and going through some things and throwing some things away. And I came across two things of note. I had a postcard from you from Bermuda.
What?
I think from way back
I
in
don't
the
remember
day.
sending that. You sure that was me?
Yeah. I didn't bring that home with me. That's still up there. But I did bring something else home
Okay.
that I thought you may find interesting. I don't know if you could read that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness.
Who
Oh
wrote
my
that?
goodness.
J.P. Durkin?
That's right. Ryan
Oh,
McFadden and Fred Harper.
Fred Harper.
So when we do meet up for dinner, I'm going to bring this and we could have a laugh. But for you listeners here, this was something that when we were in college freshman year, we were a bunch of bored freshmen saying, hey, let's make a movie. And we had come up with the concept of co-ed kung fu vampires, to which we would film some test fight scenes in the basements, and we're using the campus of where we were going to school as the backdrop. And
The laundromat of Monmouth University in Elmwood.
yeah, it's pretty funny. So I got a lot of nostalgia and memory lane.
This is how your $30,000 a year was spent.
Listen, it's the little things like vampires and kung fu that bring everybody together. As we look at the people involved in this, couldn't be more diverse. As far as background goes, pretty funny. But to move off of vampires and kung fu, we are here today to talk about Terrifier 3. Christopher, we went to see this opening night.
Almost 30 days ago. It was almost 30 days ago.
And packed theater for opening night, jam-packed. And we have the opening scene of this movie is nothing if not brutal. And we had a couple people kind of, didn't make it through the whole thing. I don't know. Is that what you saw too in the theater?
No, I think they went out and got snacks. I think they went out to snacks. No, I'm serious.
Nothing makes you hungry like some
they came back.
axe murdering.
I think everybody who was there on opening night knew what they were there for. Just my opinion, though. Again, I think. Have you watched 1 and 2 since then?
I have not. I haven't had time.
You want to watch them?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
I haven't had time really to fit that in.
Yes.
But I will say this: going into this movie, I was familiar with Art the Clown. I did not know backstory. I did not know really plot of movie 1 and 2. So I'm going in blind, just with a small familiarity with the character. And man, I loved this movie. I loved it. It was really good. It is extremely gory and brutal. It might be the most brutal and gory thing I've ever seen. Um, but it was good, man. There's like a story. It's not just, oh, let's just make a gory movie. There is a story here. There is good versus evil, and it's done really well, and really makes you root for your hero. I really enjoyed this movie. I was very pleasantly surprised at how much I liked this movie.
So now I have to tell the audience before they take off on us and leave. I have an inside story from Terrifier 3. Some of the people who I associate with at the horror cons, I guess they know people who know Damon Leone. And for those of you who aren't aware, Terrifier 3 was filmed on a $5 billion budget. And you might say, well, how was that? You know, it was an independent film. How did they make this for $5 million? A lot of special effects, a lot of gore. How do you get all these, you know, SAG workers to show up and work? Well, basically, I guess the story that I heard, I don't know how true this is or not, but again, this is what you guys tune in for, are the backstories like this. This is that Damon Leone would go around set, and when the workers would say, oh, we're done our 8-hour day, we're done our 10-hour day, he would tell them to shut up and get back to work, or you can leave set. We're not done filming for today, not even close. So that's how he came in under budget at $5 million. He basically ignored all the rules for the screen actor, allegedly. I wasn't there. I don't know. That's what I have heard, told to me via people who know a person who worked on the set for that. But it was, you know,
that's interesting. That's a very interesting point. And you and I had this conversation. It might have been 2 shows ago about like the indie kind of comeback story here. I think indie filmmaking, you know, we've constantly talked about these Disney bloated $250-300 million budget movies that are terrible and they make no money, and you know, they've kind of lost their touch. And you see a movie like this, $5 million budget, opening weekend, what was like, what,
23?
Almost 5 times.
It has now crossed $50 million domestic,
yeah. Which is wild.
#1 independent movie made of all time,
and you know,
with the 4th one on the way. By the way, I have also heard that Damon Leone intends to stop after 4. However, I get the feeling that once they load the Brinks truck up, he will have no choice but to. Why not go for 5 and 6?
Bring us another one.
Oh, why not? I mean,
it's really, really a tale of, you know, the little guy pulling through and winning. And one of this coming in at the same time Joker 2 was out, and Joker 2 with, you know, Harley Quinn and Joker in it, and this Terrifier 3 did a better version of Joker and Harley than Joker 2. And that's saying something.
Have you seen Joker 2?
No.
I would not waste my time.
But that's another story, right? You know, that you have art and help me out. It was
it's the little girl who's
Vicky. And she was basically Harley Quinn, and Art is the Joker, and that's all you need, right? To me, that was okay. I would rather watch this. You know, this was much more compelling. You know, you have a great story there, and you can walk into 3 without having seen 1 and 2 and come away with, man, that was good. I kind of want to know more. And for a movie this day and age, and a lot of the things that we see, that's saying something to me. That really says something, right? You know, a little $5 million movie is just blowing up, and you know, everybody's talking about it. From the time this movie released that weekend to today, people are still talking about it.
So spoiler alert, if you have not seen the movie, you might want to stop here because we are going to get into some of the deaths and scenes and things of that nature. But I do want to share one last tidbit of information I have. It's a rumor, so this is not confirmed by me or anybody else. This is something I've heard, again, going to the horror conventions and shows that I go to. This is that David Howard Thornton. This is a year ago I heard this, by the way, after he released the Terrifier 2, that he has signed through 7 films at least. So take that as you will. Whether or not 7 are actually made, he has signed through 7, is my understanding.
Wow.
Now, Hayden, before we get to the commercials, why don't we play the clip? Because I know there's some stuff in here that I kind of forgot about. So, again, it is 4 minutes. Not us. I don't know who's actually doing the talking during this, but he breaks down most of the kills in the movie. And I think it's important to kind of just remember them because I totally forgot some of them. I think he's on mute.
He's on mute.
Starting off with some honorable mentions, we have the mall scene. The reason why this is not in the top 5 is because they showed everything off screen. But there's a very good reason for that. This man's art was handing out gifts to children at the mall, and one guy opened a present and went boom. Poor kid, because he thought he was getting something special in that gift. But once he opened that box, it was wraps.
If you want to pause it after every
Another honorable mention is going to go to my...
So, Hollywood doesn't necessarily like to kill kids, in case you haven't noticed.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I don't blame them for kind of doing that off screen. So,
and what this scene does is really, like, there's a shock to it, you know, like he's doubling as Santa Claus in this scene, and you know, there's a real shock to when that bomb goes off, and you know,
I actually worry about copycats with that scene. That's what I worry about the most.
Boy Chris Jericho in the hospital, but this man fucking blew. How are you a WWE champion and can't withhold anything? At least put him a fight, you a fucking code breaker or something. Even hit him with the walls of Jericho. If you would have hit that, I think I would have lost it. But this man's face got torn apart. Coming into the fifth.
Yeah, Chris Jericho.
Token scene.
It was funny when he appeared. I was like, Chris Jericho, not knowing he was in a previous film. That was pretty nasty. That thing came apart like a coconut.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add with that. You know, I don't know what the hell's going on in the room he's looking into with the giving birth to the head and all that. I mean, look, I've watched all 3 movies, and the time frame for these things is wild and crazy, and some of the stuff going on in these movies is like, what the fuck? But you know, okay, so Chris Jericho makes a token appearance.
There you go.
Fifth spot, we have the opening scene. I know a lot of people are going to put this much higher, but it was so overhyped. Once again, they showed pretty much everything off screen. But I really do feel bad for this little girl right here because she thought Santa Claus was on the top of a roof. And sorry to break it to you, but that's not Santa, and there's no reindeer. And she had to witness every single thing. She was on a stealth mission because she thought Santa Claus was in her house. But once she saw Arthur Clown go up the stairs and into her brother's room, her thoughts changed immediately. The little brother thought it was her going into his room again, but that was not the case. And then 2 seconds later, you hear squishity squash for at least 1 minute. Art was not stopping, but once again, showed off screen, which is good. Then he goes into the parents' room, and the father got the same treatment that his child did. A straight bloodbath in the sheets, and that mother tried to run. But at this moment in time, you're just screwed. He's hungry, and he's not letting you get away. A couple minutes later, after a decent fight, she just gets axed. After the long-fought battle, Arthur Clown sits down and eats the cookies. But here's something in the distance, which was the girl in the cabinet. Now, we don't know if she survived or not, but we can pretty much say that she didn't. In the 4th spot...
I don't know. Yeah, see, that was something we talked about on the way home from the theater, was that this girl, that you know, her fate was really kind of unknown coming out of that. And I don't know. He said that opening scene was overhyped. I thought it was great. It sets the tone. It gets you invested. And it's not like a rush. It's a slow build through the whole thing. And I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. The one thing I I mean, I may have just totally forgotten the homage to The Shining. Again, he just showed the clip with Art in the door after he asked through the door and then put his face in. It was kind of the homage to Jack Nicholson almost. But for me, the most terrifying sequence isn't the deaths. Again, they kill the kids off screen, but it is the fact that he's eating the cookies after he does it. Yeah. He's just sitting there taking his time, having a ball, like he's in his own little world.
It's Christmas Eve.
And that is typical Art that we have as fans grown to like about the character. It's not so much, again, it is about the blood and the guts. And I had this conversation with somebody. Oh, we need to make these killers more laughable and enjoyable, and they can have fun killing people. And I'm like, you do that the wrong way. It could come off really bad looking. But if you do the blood and guts and gore, people will remember that. I don't remember him acting like a nut job. I remember the kills.
Yeah,
that's what I remember watching this movie, or the kills, not him acting kind of goofy in between takes of the kills and all.
I'm putting the Santa Claus scene in the bar. This was my favorite scene in the movie, and it was hilarious. But I absolutely love the uniqueness behind this death. A liquid nitrogen gun to the body was absolutely brutal. Then after, when your bones are complete ice, you just get hit with a hammer. Like, ooh, that's a tough way to go. At number 3, we're going to...
So, this was actually my favorite kill scene in the movie. I would have ranked this number 1. Just from the fact that the 2 people in the bar were Clint Howard and Daniel Roebuck. And I was not expecting that because, again, I wanted to go into the movie cold.
Yes.
And it was hysterical. You got Art pissing on Santa Claus. Right? I mean, you do. And then, he's sitting in the window, like pointing, like, that's Santa Claus. That's Santa Claus.
That was hilarious.
I love that meme.
Just brushing past the people in the doorway to get in.
Again, the fact that he uses the hammer and knocks off Daniel Roebuck's face. Again, we said no, beware of spoilers, so we put the spoilers out there. But for me, this was the best part of the movie.
Great scene.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed this, and again, I would have ranked this probably number 1. So
definitely the way he does it, like he describes with the liquid nitrogen, was cool. It was cool. Maybe think back to T2, liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. We're going to put this whole attic scene with the glass shard and the box cutter. This was just a normal worker trying to get his job done and then ran into Art the Clown in the attic. And man, oh man, did he go out. He didn't go out easy though. It was painful. Art went into his Mickey Mouse Cthulhu weaponry and picked out the box cutter, scraped his head open, and then ripped his skull. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Victoria was getting off with the glass fucking shard. Huh? I'm done. I'm out. Number 2, I'm putting...
I totally forgot about her masturbating with the glass shard.
That's nasty. Nasty.
And again, him opening the skull up of that dude. I mean, I remember going, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely flinched during that scene.
I mean, listen, that they set the tone right off the gate with the opening scene. So, like, the kills got, I guess, crazier and crazier almost throughout the movie.
Putting the shower scene. Most people are going to have this as number 1, but I also thought this was overhyped. But that's not saying it was brutal, because this shit went crazy. Mia and Cole were unlucky here and just got overheard by Art the Clown himself. The convo she was having, no. Come here, Mia. Come here. We are not smelling Art the Clown, bro. Like, no. We do not want to stare into his soul. No. What are you on about? Like, that's why you fucking died. And later on, they go into the bathroom, and then it's all said and done. Art came in, took a piss, and then went into his Duffy, looked at his weaponry, and pulled out a fucking chainsaw. And proceeds to go crazy and takes out Mia and Cole. Mia's getting sliced and diced, and then Cole gets his leg sliced where he can't run, and it's nice. Fuck, it's not nice. What am I talking about? Cole, you trying to pay for my doctor bill for my balls, bro? That fucking hurt. Getting sliced up the crack. Taking the balls with him. Sliced in half all the way to the fucking top of the dome piece. I got one question for you, Mia. How did Art smell? Did he smell like roses or some shit? Maybe a vanilla candle? At number 1, I'm putting the...
I thought the shower scene was my favorite one. I thought that was like brutal kill. And they show it all. Like you're seeing everything in that. just brutal with that chainsaw. When he's got the guy on the ground and he's going straight up, that makes you kind of adjust in the chair a little bit.
So I don't know if you remember. Have you ever seen the movie Things to Do When You're Dead in Denver?
Yes.
Remember what
Buckwheat
the
hit.
name? The buckwheat hit, right? So they take the gun, they fire up your ass, and the bullet rattle rolls around in your stomach, and like you can twitch around like Bill Mummy did in that movie. And that's I think where that homage kind of came from with that particular scene. I know the rest of the shower scene was the homage to Psycho, obviously. But again, I think this is the proper place in terms of kills, in terms of the kill ranking system. I do think this is where this one belongs. So I get no argument from me. I would have left her alive if I was Art, maybe severely deformed, just so she can go out and tell her story now. And because that's what she was on the whole movie.
Yeah.
Is I want to know your story, and could you please be on our podcast?
She could be a guest on our show.
And if you had really like left her alive, but that would have been the ultimate justice, I think, for her. But yeah, okay.
Here we go. Number 1.
Rat scene. I don't like rats. I don't like rodents, bro. It's just not for me. But gripping the rat like you're loving it and then putting it down someone's fucking throat. I feel so bad for Sienna's aunt because this is definitely the number 1 most brutal thing that happened in this entire movie. Getting a tube shoved down your throat, twisted, and then hammered down like ooh, nah. I still can't believe that Stuart Little went down the tube in someone's
Stuart
throat.
Little.
Just thinking about that scene, thinking about a rat hitting my throat with his greasy ass tail. No, I'm not having none of that. Like, this is number 1 for sure. Let me know your top 5 most brutal scenes in Terrifier 3. These are the top.
All right. Now, I know walking out of the theater, you said that was definitely something that left an impression with you.
That scene was cool, but I've seen them do that in what was it, a show? Was it Game of Thrones that they did that?
I remember that they did it with the.
Yes, they did do it in Game of Thrones.
I don't remember if it was that Game of Thrones or not, but I know that they did the similar one where they put the ice bucket on the guy's chest with the rat inside, and then hit up the ice bucket with the flame.
Yeah.
To try to make the rat dig into your stomach.
Yeah.
And that the cartels would do that.
Yeah. I know I've seen it before. Not as brutal in the delivery method. With the pipe and the jamming it in there. And I do have to say, like, the sound mixing when he would strike with the axe or with the banging it, it's so loud that it startles, like, when you hear it. Because there were people flinching when that sound was made in the theater. It's just a loud bang. And, you really, wow. Okay.
We're talking about the death scenes that we saw that were impressive, but I think we need to mention the death scenes that we didn't see that I was a little disappointed in not seeing. And the first is the brother, right? I mean, and then the husband went to go pick up the brother.
Yes. What happened there?
And the next thing you know, he's hanging up on the wall. Okay, that's great, but it's not. They didn't show it to me. I felt a little gypped about that.
Yeah, because he was a character who had a couple scenes in this movie and really kind of earned something on screen. Same with the brother. And I don't know for sure if the brother, would you consider maybe he's alive? Were they bluffing?
I don't think that they were bluffing. The fact that the husband went to go pick him up tells me that they had intercepted the brother at that point. He was
and there was that scene where he's in the car and I think either Vicky is parroting what the brother's, voice, right? Like, that's what I took from that scene. I, assumed that, okay, that's not him because it sounds a little off. Those two definitely, we could have seen something.
So again, I'm just, not nitpicking. I did like the movie, but just from an audience perspective, not only that, the brother played a huge part in part 1. So how do you not at least give him his due diligence and a good, clean death?
Yeah, definitely.
This one, I don't understand that. Maybe they filmed it and then just it ended up on the cutting room floor because it ran too long. I don't know. It's a good question. One we may never get an answer to unless there's an unrated director's cut.
Fair enough.
But so let me ask you a question, and it's something that I've been thinking about all year long. What is the best movie you've seen so far this year?
Ooh, good question.
In the movie theater, and or on demand or whatever.
Good question.
But one that's released this year.
Good question. I feel like this one's up there.
And I feel the same way, but you sit there and you think about it, it can't be this. And I'll tell you the movie that I thought was the best movie this year was actually Inside Out 2, which I had no interest in going to see. But
that was pretty good, yeah.
I mean, just the arc of the character, how she wanted to get the. And I'm not here to tell you about Inside Out 2. We're not here to talk about that movie, but because it's a children's movie. But how she had to navigate a vital time in her life while trying to make a hockey team, trying to transition to high school, and trying to impress these older kids while her friends are leaving. And she's developing her menstruation at the same time and developing all these new feelings. And she's conflicted over what she should do in terms of breaking the rules to find out if she can make this team. The storyline was just so well done for Inside Out 2. But I sit there and I think, were these the two movies that I remember most from this year?
It says a lot. That says a lot.
And I went to the movies twice this week. And, we'll cover that later on. And it's just,
really good question. Really good question.
I mean, are the movies that not memorable this year that you're like, eh?
I mean, and that's another testament to, indie mindset, something fresh, Terrifier 3. You were saying, and I think you put it that, it's this generation's Freddy Krueger. And that's a really good comparison. There hasn't really been a character like that. There's been like a void, right? Like who was, the 80s, you pick one, right? Like Jason, Freddy,
Michael Myers.
Then there's for years, there's nothing. Now there's Art the Clown, and he's everywhere. We even were talking about the life-size, animatronic statue that they were selling at Party City.
Yeah.
Okay, that really says a lot. When the movie came out, you had mentioned the meme of Art, seeing Santa Claus in the window. That's everywhere. You go through X, it's Art the Clown all over the place. Popularity is through the roof.
Hayden, before we go to the box office totals and everything, I want to go to commercials in a second. Give us your final opinion on Terrifier 3. Are you going to watch the first two? Are you not?
I am interested in watching the first two when I get a chance to. And I do want to say, since we didn't really touch upon it, the lead character, Sienna Shaw, what a great character to root for. What a well done, traumatized, but trying to move forward. But, things are just catching up to you. But there's ultimately the struggle of good and evil. And there's, angelic imagery for her character. I'm not sure what the suit of armor and the wings. I have to watch the second movie and the first movie to kind of, I guess, understand that. But the imagery alone is showing you good and then evil. And, evil looks like it's, got its foot on the neck of good, and good somehow comes through. But, there were casualties along the way. The actress who played that did a really good job of getting me to buy in and believe, her. And the scenes where she's like, I know what I'm seeing. I know he's here, and the franticness, and then just the emptiness. And nobody's believing her, and just you could kind of see it, right? Like she did a really good job, and I'm not familiar with her at all. I thought she was great. She was likable, and she did the action, and she did the terrified, scared, nervous. She did a great job. So this movie, definitely recommend. I definitely want to see 1 and 2. Great film. Gory as hell, but it's good. There's a good story in it.
Now, let me ask you a question. When they have part 4, do you hope that they come back with what happened to the little cousin who fell through the floor to hell, I guess?
Yeah.
And I hope that she goes and finds her at least there's a quest to try to find her. That's my hope for 4 when and if they make it.
Yeah.
It's just not like an open closed, book. I hope that they get there.
That was the thread, right? Like, we got to rescue her. She was the only other survivor out of the massacre.
Yeah.
But she was out of reach. That's like perfect setup for the next one. Art gets away.
There are 2 scenes in this movie that are memorable to me the most. And the first is before Art picks up the chainsaw in the bathroom scene where he's washing his hands after he urinates. Because it's like, well, why would you bother doing that knowing you're going to get bloody, right? And the second is when Sienna is holding the sword reverse. And she drops the handle down to her cousin and she can't hold on because the blade slices her hands.
Yes.
Basically, scarring her hands, ruining her hands. That to me is, the ultimate heroic thing. Like you were just talking about, a character to root for sure. That just sticks in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Good movie, man. Like I'm very happy we went to see that.
Yeah. So you would recommend this for people to go see?
Absolutely.
Okay. Before we go into the box office totals for this week, from Christopher Michael Blake, author of the Cape May Murders, comes his new mystery novel, Trespass Against Us. Oh, wrong way.
It's the new novel.
February 1st, when he's confined to his home for a vehicular homicide he couldn't prevent, Brendan Peters, a flawed writer, must dodge his own guilt and threat of arrest when he witnesses a mysterious neighbor disposing of a body, forcing Brendan to engage in a dangerous game of cat and mouse with his neighbor, will have deadly consequences. Trespass Against Us will release on February 1st of 2025. It will be available on Amazon.com and ChristopherMichaelBlake.com as well.
That's exciting, Christopher. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's but Hayden, even more exciting than that is if your business is looking for a way to attract and gain new clients, how would you go about doing that?
Well, I would advertise with us.
That's a shame. I would go advertise on Amazon, but
forget Amazon.
Well, look, I'm not saying. So, Real Geek Media and Entertainment is now offering sponsorships on their podcast and website. Hayden, you know what we're currently going for the month? If you were to advertise with us, what it would cost your business?
$30.
Now, you're not just talking about $30. Hey, we're going to mention you for 5 minutes, 3 minutes. We're talking about the whole month. That's at least 8 episodes that you're going to be on, which are on YouTube and RSFeed.com, Spotify for life. Anytime that anybody pulls these episodes up, your product is going to be there. Not only that, we're going to put you front and center on our website with a link to your product and description. All that for the low price of $30 a month. Hayden, that's the cost of a Happy Meal plus a big milkshake at this point. Where you
Not wrong.
Where you can spend thousands of dollars in E. coli food poisoning from McDonald's at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So visit realgeekmedia.com. Click on the link for sponsor us, advertise with us, or donate here to get started. Again, that's www.reelgeekmedia.com to start now. Hayden? So we had a little bit of a – apparently Here does not start playing until tonight. We couldn't kind of factor that into our decisions. We used the 3 movies, Venom, Last Dance, Conclave, and Smile 2. And there was a clear winner this week, Hayden. I hate to say, I gave you the Sweet Chin music. I did. I took care of business this week. Took the trash out. So here we go. We're going to cover the movies here. Venom, Last Dance. You said 20 million. Rocky said 12. I said 32. Actual retail number for the opening weekend was 51 million, which doesn't sound bad, except they were expecting 65.
Yeah, I heard that was the lowest of the three, right?
Yes.
Venom movies.
Yeah. Now, it hasn't gotten great reviews either. That didn't help either, from what I understand. This is supposed to be Tom Hardy's last venture in this movie. Once they back up the Avenger Brinks truck, believe me, he'll be right back on.
I can't understand him. Like, that's the one thing with this movie is, like, I can't understand a word he's saying in this movie. And marbles in his mouth the whole time. I have no idea. I need the captions when I watch him.
Look, he is so good on Peaky Blinders. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. He's that good in that show. So there are certain roles that he's really good at, and then there's certain roles. Warrior, he was great in that. I love that too. So
I like
Tom
this
Hardy
Mad
is
Max.
not-
I like this Mad Max. I thought
that was good too. Yeah, you can't have a Mad Max movie without Mad Max for Furiosa, but we understand. Again, that was one of the. The second movie was Conclave with Ralph Fiennes. I had the opportunity to go see this week.
Oh, you saw it?
I did. I went and saw it. I'm going to say two different things about the movie. The first is I believe that after watching this, that Ralph Fiennes will probably win Best Actor.
Really?
That's my call right now. He'll win Best. He carried the movie, in my opinion. However, that being said, the movie's very slow. It's a lot of talking. There's no action whatsoever in the movie. And I could have really kind of done with it the last 10 minutes.
Does he turn into Voldemort at the end?
He does not.
Man, I ain't going to see it.
He's navigating his way. The premise of the movie, for those of you who have no interest in going to see this movie, is that he's running the conclave. He doesn't want to run it after the Pope's death to elect the next Pope. And he's already admits he doesn't want to even have part of this. He tried to resign, and the Pope refused his resignation, telling him, when I pass, you need to manage this next conclave because there's all these adversaries and different factions vying for the papacy. And he's going through, and every faction kind of has what's wrong with them. No faction is perfect. And you find out that, there's this one lone person who shouldn't be there. And, they weren't even really kind of invited. And that person doesn't want the papacy either. And what a better opportunity to give it to that person after he's kind of eliminated everybody else. And he's like the Sherlock Holmes of Cardinals.
Interesting.
Not a bad movie, just I can't know without the preachiness of the last. There was a huge twist at the end. I'm not going to give it away. It was like, and talking to some Catholics, they were like, yeah, they really shit all over Catholics with this movie. Being a Catholic myself, I'm like, I don't see it that way, but I'm not a diehard religious fanatic like some people. I enjoyed the movie for what it was. Again, my interpretation, Ralph Fiennes does win Best Actor for the movie, but the movie really, because it was based on a book, didn't need the last 10 minutes. The numbers, Hayden, Rocky said 30 million. You said 3. I said 6. The actual retail number, Hayden, was 6.6.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I know.
Rocky was all the I guess eggs in this basket. 30.
The last one was Smile too. I went and saw this as well this week, and I really enjoyed the movie itself. I picked right up from the end of 1, by the way. So if you're interested, so did you see Smile?
No.
Oh, one of the better horror movies of last year, by the way. Can't recommend it enough. Totally different take on things. This one here, it's like she's like a dancer.
Right. She's like a pop
but she's
singer
got her own demons. And what's great about it is because my daughter does dance. I'm watching the dance sequences and they are professionally done. They are so wonderfully done. It was almost like watching like a backstage of like an actual music show.
Like Lord of the Dance.
Oh no, it was better than that. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding around by saying that. It was really good.
Yeah.
Really well done. The horror scenes are really good in terms of what's fake and what's reality and what's not. But then you get to the last 10 minutes of the film, and it's like, I already know how this was going to end from the beginning. And you know how it's going to end from the beginning. But it just didn't
land
very well.
No.
Again, just for the last 10 minutes, the film didn't do it for me. Rocky guessed 32 million. You guessed 17. I guessed 8.9. Actual retail number, hey, this is the only one you took for the week, was 23 million. So you were closer. It did a lot better opening weekend than I thought it was going to do. But again, it wasn't a terrible sequel. I would probably watch a third one when it comes out.
See, I still stand by like the James Cameron version of making a sequel. Like Smile, make this one called Smiles and have more than one monster.
You have to watch the movie, Hayden. And
yeah.
Again,
I'm just waiting for somebody to come up and do that again. Like they tried it with that Predators, Aliens, Smiles. Somebody's going to do it. Somebody needs to do it. You can't do it with the third one. You can only do it with the second one.
I was really excited to see Smile too, and it didn't disappoint in terms of the amount of gore and jump scares. And like I said, the dance sequences for me though were the most entertaining because the lady who is the star of the movie, she gets on before the movie starts and she talks about her experience making the film and how pleasurable it was, and thank you for coming to the theater and for her opportunity to do this. And she was very talented. She's very attractive too. That doesn't hurt.
I know her
plays the part well.
Yeah.
She gets top knocks. I mean, the movie didn't fail because of her. I'm going to let you know now. It was not because of her.
I only know her from, I think she was in the Power Rangers live action one from a couple years ago. And I think she was in the Aladdin live action as Jasmine. I think.
Very attractive woman. Smile too. Again, I would recommend going to see it. Yeah. Not barring the last 5 to 10 minutes are kind of, you know what's going to happen. So Hayden, we're going to go over the movies for this week coming up. And the first was Here with Tom Hanks. Rocky guessed 52 million. You guessed 33, and I guessed 25. We'll see where it lands. Mm-hmm. So here we go. We got 3 movies. You probably have not seen the trailer for, I'm guessing, 2 out of 3 of these.
Okay.
So if you want to watch the trailer before you make your guess, you have the opportunity to do so if you want to type it into YouTube. The first one is the best Christmas pageant ever.
Best Christmas pageant ever. That's the name of it?
That's the best name. It's coming out November 1st. I'm going to tell you now, I will probably go see this based on the trailer I saw this weekend when I'm going to go see Conclave.
This is based on a book.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you now. It's the kind of a story where they're having the annual Christmas play at a local church, and there's that one family who's like the rotten eggs of the community. And what do those kids do? We're going to be in your play. And the entire town is like, don't put them in the play. Get rid of them. Find a way to get them out. And the mom is trying to teach her kids, God doesn't discriminate, and neither should we. And that's basically the moral of the story. But it looks like it's fun in terms of the havoc and chaos and the family story that's kind of generated. You have to remember that Red One's coming out in 2 weeks.
I was just going to say that. We're at that time of year where we're going to start to see these movies,
which actually looks terrible. I mean,
I'll talk about Red One in a second. This sounds interesting, and it's got the appeal for like a kid and a family.
I don't think it was made on a huge budget either. So that's the other thing that I think kind of helps this in terms of making money.
Because here is more like an adult, in my opinion. That's like more of an adult movie. The kids aren't going to want to see that, right? Like, what is this? Right? That's more like, okay, you're going to get the older crowd is going to enjoy this movie. This one has got appeal for families and for kids, and that's money. So where do I go? 35.
Wow. Okay. That's a huge number. Geez, you got me rethinking my number. I came up with a number.
When does it come out? Is it this weekend or next?
I believe it comes out this weekend, I believe. And it probably should, and again, if it's going against Here, you have to factor that in.
Do you think people are hungry for Christmas movies?
I think they're hungry for
I think they
movies.
are. I think
they're hungry
are.
Not for Christmas, but I think for family movies.
Coming off of Terrifier 3, I think people want to have something to bring their kids to, right?
And I
They're just
saw
getting
Wild
them-
Robot too, by the way. That was I saw that
Yeah.
on demand. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. My daughter liked it a lot more than I did.
And you know, like I had taken the kids to see, we saw Transformers 1 and
Yeah.
really good, really positive. But that's, you know, you're going weeks now without something new.
And the other thing that I have to put into this is what's the effect on here? What's the dilution from some of the other movies that are currently out?
I might be high with mine.
And that's what I'm thinking is if the lower I go, the safer I am. And I'm going to stick with my original number. I'm going to 23 million.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good.
And again, that's just my guess. Take it for what it's worth. The next movie we have up is the Liam Neeson movie, Absolution. Now, he says he doesn't want to make any more action movies. He plays a guy who, of course, is the most dangerous guy on the planet who, wants to start raising his family and helping out his wife. His daughter's children and stuff.
Good Lord. I'm looking at the poster for this.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Trainwreck Central.
Big yikes.
You gotta remember, he's in his 70s now. I mean, again, I wouldn't fuck with him. I mean, he'll fuck me up, but
72. Yeah. Oh man, like at what point do like police officers just retire? You know, because that's kind of what he always played now, or an action hero.
Hitman, something like that effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ice Road Trucker with a vendetta. Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna do very well at all.
You know, I do find joy in watching his movies, though.
There is a charm to. He's very likable, right? It's easy to root for Liam Neeson, and I think that's what makes, you know, the appeal as an audience, right? Like, oh, Liam Neeson, oh, he's gonna get that bad guy, his comeuppance, it's gonna happen and it's gonna be awesome. I feel like this is the same thing over and over again. Like ever since Taken, and he had a couple ones after the Taken series that weren't bad, and now it's just like, let's just cast Liam Neeson in these movies and call it a day. I mean, how strong is the Liam Neeson fan base these days? What do you say? 7, 8? I'll go 8.
Okay. I think you've overestimated the appeal of Liam Neeson at this point. His Jedi mind power, I think, has corrupted you. I will say this, though. I think Steven Seagal is also 72. And he recently just put out a commercial for Putin. I don't know if you saw this or not.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yes.
Oh,
Basically, because he's telling people how great Putin is. He's a honorary Russian citizen, but apparently some of the documentary stuff that he's filmed, he tells these people you can only shoot me from a certain angle and only use like headshots when I'm doing this karate now and talking because he's ballooned up.
Yeah.
So fat.
Yeah. He's a float in the parade on Mason.
Yes.
And
that
Thanksgiving parade.
seems to be the problem with Steven Seagal. 72 years old. I like Liam Neeson, but I'm going to go 3 on this, Hayden. I'm not going higher. Let's go lower. I would have went $1 if I could have. I'll go 3. The last movie is one I'm going to go see. I'm very interested in it. It stars Hugh Grant, who I love as an actor. I think his late resurgence in his career comes from not doing movies for an extended period of time.
I'll tell you what I thought is because he's playing villains all the time. He's so good at it.
Interesting.
He's so good at it. Yeah.
And this movie is The Heretic. It's a A24 horror film with the 2 girls, and they're in the labyrinth of hell going through his house, and it just appeals to me.
It looks very interesting.
Original.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's not a very big budget, I'm sure. Knowing A24, it probably cost less than $7 million to make.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant probably didn't have to do a lot in the movie, show up for a couple days, collect a paycheck. No, I'm serious. I mean, that's my guess. It's not like he had to get physical, I'm guessing, Hayden, I'll give you my number for this one.
Sure.
I think with the Christmas movie dilution and everything else, I'm gonna have to. And it gets colder out. People don't want to leave their homes. I'm gonna go 9.
I'll go 12.
I would have said 11. 11. Okay. You give me some wiggle room there.
It looks interesting, right? The first trailer that I saw for this, it's you're typical. Okay, this is gonna be a horror movie, but then it's like, oh, all right, Hugh Grant. Okay, I like Hugh Grant as a villain. I like him because he's just got that face that you just want to punch, and like when he stopped playing like the romantic comedy leads and the goofy, charming guy, and he started playing bad guys, I found him much more interesting as an actor and somebody that you can realistically, okay, maybe he can get cast in these roles and do a good job. I like him in these things. But this looks interesting with the labyrinth and kind of what's going on in there. What is this about? Yeah, obviously there's the religious component, which is, I'm curious. I would definitely see this.
Again, with the late resurgence that he had after not acting for a while, it reminded me of Pierce Bronson.
Yeah.
So that's what it reminds me, because he used to come out and be the villain in a lot of these movies and stuff. And
yeah.
He went from playing James Bond action heroes to
you know what I like Pierce Brosnan in? I don't know if you saw Black Adam.
I did not.
Man, Pierce Brosnan was the best part of that movie.
Really?
He was really, really good in that movie. I mean, that's not a lot of great in that movie, but he was the best part.
Closing thoughts tonight here, Hayden, before we jump over to the news.
Go see Terrifier 3. Not for the squeamish, but man, it's worth it. It's worth it. It really is. Really is.
It's very enjoyable. If you're a horror fan, I definitely recommend it also. Trespass Against Us, February 1st, 2025. Check it out.
There we go. We will catch you. Stick with us. We'll be back with weird and funny news stories. We will see you after the break.